I have a strange attachment to the RWBY series because those first four trailers are iconic, and the fights were iconic, and some of the character designs were iconic. I know that's a lot of positivity from me, so I'm gonna interject with a little rant on, well, a little discussion that I'm having with myself on whether or not anime girls are Reddit. Okay, what do I mean by Reddit? I mean it's tacky, boring, unoriginal. Now, am I saying that the anime style as a whole is bad? No, it's effective. Big, hair looks cool, the eyes look cool, and it's I mean, yeah, I have an anime game running right now. I don't hate the style. It's just where Reddit comes from, and when I do say Reddit, I mean Reddit as in also vaguely right conservative people. Redditors are fucking disturbed people. So the concept of saying, dude, we're gonna have this anime girl with a gun, and you've seen those types of people before, dude, anime girl with vodka, dude, and it's like talking dog humor. And I'm sorry if this is controversial, if this is mean or whatever, and you have been impacted, because I used to be one of those people. I was a RWBY. I kept up with the show. Okay, I thought it was funny when cute characters had a gun because I was 11. Well, no, hold on. That can't be true. That cannot be true. I was actually 11 years old. I had an excuse, all right? It was a different time. Okay. So, but now, if you think that what anything anime does is okay, I'm not in the anime style, but if you think that something like Xenophone Zero is quirky or clever or funny, you are Reddit. All right, you're tacky, you're stupid, and well, that's just it. That's my point. If you think that, if you can seriously excuse characters all looking the fucking same, and I know, I just thought about Overwatch, it just flashed into my head. If you can excuse something like that constantly, you're the problem. But would I call any of the would I call the show itself good? No. RWBY has 9 seasons and only one of them are good. And the reason is, well, we gotta start at the world. The RWBY's world is called a remnant. The coolest thing about it is that it has this broken moon. Yep. Yeah, they say one of the best world building tips is to fuck up the moon or the sun or something. And I guess they did that. And it is, again, iconic. The fucked up moon. So, but that's cheating. I mean, it's the moon. We love her. Whatever. The thing about the first 2 seasons of RWBY and sort of focus on this fantasy racism. And so, and the problem with that, there are I think 4 I can think of off the top of my head. 1, there are 3 writers. 2 of them are white men. The other one is Asian. So, doesn't really pass my test. All right, the paper bag test. Too many whites in the kitchen. Get them out. They don't know how to season. 2, the show is named after colors. RWBY is an acronym for red, white, black, and yellow. Now, all the main characters are white. Now, of course, it's in an anime style, so they could be Asian. One of the yellow character, Yang, her name is Yang Xiaolong. I'm pretty sure that's Chinese, but she's blonde. So, and the voice actors again are all white women. So, number 3, the fictional racism is done in the worst way possible. With animals, of course. And why is using animals for your racism a bad idea? Well, predator-prey relationships. Okay, so the predator-prey relationships don't work because it implies that one person is strictly inherently more deadly than you. And I didn't really mind it in B-Stars, because B-Stars was like about weird sex stuff, and that made sense because in weird sex stuff, men are larger and statistically at any point just have the capability of killing a woman. You know, whenever one goes missing or is murdered, it's the husband and the boyfriend. That's like a thing I've heard. I think it's true. It's true. So in that case, it works. But with if you're gonna put but how do you decide which type of people becomes a predator or a prey? Because you're doing a real world analogy. You have to have a real world analogy in your mind. And this is a show made in Texas, in America. So they're thinking of black people. On like one of the fucking director creative commentaries, they said black people. They're thinking of the civil rights movement. And notice how I said civil rights? The rights? Remember how I don't fucking like that word? Yeah. The people who wrote this show are white liberals. They believe... I need to calm down. But... Okay. So, I laid it out. Moving on to the show itself, because this was all outside of the show. The problems with animal racism and having all your main characters be white people. Okay. In the second season, they did introduce Emerald. She is the first brown character, and she is a thief. And then in the fourth season, we got another brown character that speaks for longer than like 60 seconds. Okay. So, once you get into the show, now it is an action show. So in the nature of that, when you want to have your heroes doing cool shit, they need to have goons to beat up. And Power Rangers, they got like, I don't know what they're called, but you know, they sort of just flail around and get, you know, fucking dunked on, and it's cool as hell. And the Teen Titans, they Slade has these fucking ninja robots, and I don't know how he has the resources for that, but it's cool. So especially with team shows need goons to fight, and the fucking slop Avengers movies, yeah, they got them fighting goons, because it's not like you can't do villain of the week as easily when you have like 5 heroes, because then they just get jumped and shit, and it's a mess. It's just harder to do. What was I talking about? Oh, the goons. Well, the goons in RWBY are the Grimm. They are monsters that are attracted to negative emotions. Now, I said negative emotions. That sounds a little interesting, doesn't it? Is the show going to be about happiness? Is it going to critique society somewhat? No, it does not. And I know. I said fantasy racism. Isn't having fantasy racism in some way a critique of society? Well, maybe it would be if the activists in RWBY's universe, the White Fang, weren't villains. So they are just an antagonistic role. They beat them up, and they don't really speak to any of them. And they sort of disappear from the plot because I guess they got criticism for doing a really bad job. So, but they can't just. One of the main characters has cat ears because, you know, it's animal racism from Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem has furries that just have like ears, but they can also turn into an animal, but they can't turn into animals in RWBY. So pretty lame if you ask me. Anyways, so it's not about happiness or anything like that, and which is really funny because they introduce the main villain, Salem. She's an old immortal witch, and she maybe wants to kill herself. Who knows? It's what is the show about then? Okay, well, it's in a school setting, so the main characters aren't really in a position to just strike out and go on an adventure. They're in one place most of the time, so nothing happens. Doesn't that sound exciting? A show where nothing happens? Well, there's a few fights. For the first 2 seasons, the fights are good. And then again, in Volume 7, they're good. So I did sort of go, like 4 or 5 seasons without having, like, consistently good fights, so the show was not good. This is a terrible show. That's part of why Volume 9 is the best one, because it does have pretty good fights. I mean, they're not like mind-blowing, but they're pretty good. Where am I so far? Oh yeah, I'm still explaining the dumbass setting so they're in school and nothing happens until like there's a tournament arc, and then some like bad guys attack and like destroy the school. So then they have to split up, and then they go to another school and they sit around for like a whole season. And then they leave that school because like the principal of that school is like evil, and then he dies or something, so they have to leave and they go to another school. And then once they get there, nothing happens until like the last half of that season, Volume 7. So, and then like a bunch of cool fights happen, and then Volume 8. So then in Volume 8, a bunch of idiotic shit happens, and the fights for the most part suck. They all job to this guy called the Hound. And like then they all have this really awkward fight. No, Volume 8 has like 2 good fights I can remember, both with this Penny character. Again, not any of the main characters, so keep that in mind. Well, no, I'm not gonna say keep that in mind, because I mean we're at the end. RWBY doesn't have any noticeable development or arc or really any personal drive to the story, like, at all. Even during like when they were kind of doing something about racism, RWBY doesn't seem to care. She doesn't like have a moment where she like stands up for her minority friend or anything like that. No, she doesn't. Neither does Yang. The Weiss character, the white one, yes, they make the white one racist. I guess they couldn't resist. They couldn't help putting themselves in the story. Lol. Was that a low blow? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, the Penny fights I think were good, and then everything else was dog shit. So, I'm skipping through there, but there's probably some nice things I can say. But then there's also more bad things I can say. So, yeah. Oh wait, there was this cool bike chase. Yeah, in Volume 8, there was a cool bike chase, and what else happened? Well, before the bike chase, they jobbed to the Hound, so that was a bad thing. So, but and then tell me there's something else nice I can say. No. It was just the Penny fights and the bike chase. That's it. So, yeah. Oh, shit. I forgot the thing about the fantasy racism. Oh, so RWBY has a special trait called a Silver Eyes, which helps you fight Grimm. As I said before, the monsters that sort of threaten humanity and are attracted to negative emotions. And you'd think in a story featuring fantasy racism, that the people with the extra superpowers, because they all have superpowers if they try hard enough. You think the people with the extra superpowers that help fight the monsters would be in like a position of power, or they would be, just seen as more beautiful, or maybe they could be seen as more stupid, just thug types. None of that happens. They aren't really integrated into the story, into the society as a whole. The world of Remnant is fucking stupid. Okay. So yeah, you have racism, but you don't. But again, I don't think the guys who did that, I don't think they even understand how like white people have their own colorism. I think the white guys that did it don't even understand how white people prefer blonde hair for whatever reason. But I digress. I move on to Volume 9. Volume 9 takes place after RWBY and her 3 friends, but they don't really do anything in Volume 9. So you don't really got to worry about that. Like, they fight, but they don't like do anything. And that's fine because they don't really have any personality at all. Although it does make that, like, the time spent where like the black and the yellow one like kiss each other, it makes that really lame and just boring because they don't have any personality. It just feels like a Yuri slop. Is that a term? But well, I just put it out there. So I coined the term Yuri slop. No one in human history has ever been so clever as to put together Yuri and slop. That's me, all me, baby. Anyways, what makes Volume 9 of RWBY so good is because when they fall into this hole, they go into Wonderland, which they sort of have like a cool lore explanation, admittedly, as like sort of a beta test for like their gods beta test. They sort of fall into that, like the demo room or whatever. So it's a bunch of wacky stuff happening, and the whole time RWBY, she just failed miserably in Volume 8 or something. So she is feeling down, and she meets a little mouse character that cheers her up. But at the same time, this ice cream lady wants to fucking kill her, and actually, she decides on something better. She wants RWBY to fucking kill herself. So she does. So yeah, there's that. RWBY's feeling sad, and then her like arch enemy wants her to fucking kill herself. And yeah, it's honestly really interesting. It's like the first time in 9 seasons that they decide to really explore something related to the concept of happiness and a setting where, you know, being happy keeps you alive. So yeah, it's sad, you know. Well, it's not sad. It was a happy ending, but it's sad that it took 9 seasons for them to tell a good story, and the only reason that's possible is because they focus on one character. They ignore the fucking character, the bloat, because there's like, I don't know, 40 other sort of relevant characters or something. They ignore the character, the bloat. They focus on RWBY. And I guess John. This is the first time I'm mentioning him, but he's been around the whole time. he gets more development than RWBY does. So I guess that can be annoying if you're a longtime fan of like Blake for some reason, and she didn't do anything the whole season. I don't know how you're a fan of Blake, but maybe you just like her design. So yeah, I just once they focus on telling a personal story in a fantasy world where they don't have to worry about racism, and they stop doing the shit they don't know how to do, they stay in their lane. It was a pretty good time. I like RWBY Volume 9. That's the only one I'm comfortable saying is good. And this is now my defense, my argument for whatever the fuck someone asks me why I don't like RWBY. I just point out the incredibly terrible, stupid fucking racism that doesn't make any sense. That sort of, and if they can't handle that, if they can't put the thought into that, of course they couldn't develop any of the 40 fucking characters they had running around. No. If you make a show named after colors and all your characters are white, how do you mess that one up? to the point where the yellow character is never even wearing yellow. She's always wearing brown with yellow hair and accessories because, well, she's white, and you know, white people don't like to wear yellow often, so apparently it doesn't look good on them. I'm not an expert. Can't speak from personal experience. So, but yeah, you see what? Oh yeah, and the white character, she's so pale. She often, they started putting her in blue. Those silly kids. Anyways, that's it. So I hope this was like a fun little anecdote or whatever, you heard about this and you thought, damn, I hope I don't fuck up when I tell my story or whatever. So, I think the lesson here is to stay in your lane. Write about something that has actually affected you, or that you, and maybe try to get opinions, or if you're doing research, ask about someone from the opposite side. If your main character is a woman and you're a man writing it, maybe talk to a woman. Yeah, that's the lesson, kids. Goodbye.